Auburn at LSU. Auburn 3-2, LSU 4-2. LSU has fallen to a 22 overall ranking. Who is LSU? Who is Auburn? We're going to preview it. We're going to predict it. We're going to get into it. I want to say it again, the same thing I said about Auburn going into Georgia. Auburn's playing with house money. Why would you not? Why would you not? Especially when you can smell blood off the nose of LSU.
House money is exactly the theme that I had when I looked at this game for the first time. Because here's the thing. There's not multiple reasons, not even two, I don't think, for me to look at Auburn and say, yep, this is their game. They're going to get right in Death Valley at night. That's not what I'm going to say. I'm just here to tell you right now. Right. You've already said it, and we've hammered it home on this podcast. They're dangerous because they're playing with house money. Look at the test that they provided Georgia. Look on the flip side and look at LSU playing like dog crap defensively for the last 2 weeks. And you should be looking at yourself and saying, Missouri put up 39, had a chance to win. Yeah. We can do that. You should be looking and saying, Ole Miss put up 1,000 yards of offense or something like that. Yeah. And finding ways that you can have success. If there's ever a moment this season where Auburn gets the passing game right, has to be this game. Their passing numbers are insanely stupid low. They've got to address it. They absolutely have to. This is your chance because LSU's playing terribly on defense.
Yes, agreed. Blood on the nose of LSU. Hugh Freeze is always good to get one, no matter what kind of roster he's playing with, no matter what kind of deck of cards he's holding. Is this Saturday that moment in time? Because the context surrounding it says it very well could be. Very well could be.
It sure does.
The spread is, I mean, if you were a casual looking at this, you're saying, oh, spread's 11. Man, that's low. It needs to be higher. Who's Auburn? They suck.
Yeah.
They don't suck when they play with house money because they gave Georgia everything that they wanted. And Georgia's a far better team. It's far superior.
Oh, absolutely. LSU is not even on Georgia's stratosphere right now. That 11 point spread reminds me of like a Chiefs game because that's just what you expect them to do. They're the Chiefs. They've won 2 Super Bowls in this run that they're on. They can be so devastatingly good offensively. So you don't see them cover a lot of times because it's the NFL. There's a lot more parity. They're all pros. Whereas in this case, you're coming off of a coaching search yet again, even though you landed a good guy, a good coach, that is. Now, I don't know about the guy. Yeah. You've got a million transfers. The factors, they just don't line up. So that's a very tempting number because, again, as a casual, you're going to say, oh, yeah, LSU's going to win this game by 21. Yeah. It's at home. They don't lose this type of game to an inferior opponent. But when they're playing the way that they're playing with the personnel that they have defensively and Auburn's got nothing to lose, that's when they're vulnerable.
Yeah. Yeah. And consider this too. Consider the emotional state of LSU. 10-point win over Mizzou. And there were several points in time. I believe there was multiple lead changes. 99% sure you came back from being down to win that game against Mizzou, who you're better than. You're better than. And then you had that epic 49-55 finish in Oxford. And then before that, you had the 3-point win over Arkansas. How much longer can you sustain emotionally, before somebody like a Hugh Freeze goes, bro, we got you right where we want you. I don't care what kind of roster I got. Like, this is the type of stuff that I live for.
100% it is. I mean, this is like Hugh is having dreams every night this week about this. Of course, he's also a smart coach. He's looking at them and saying, what on earth are we going to do to prevent them from, if necessary, winning this game 52-42? What are we going to do? He's that type of guy. Their defense has not been terrible at Auburn. Their offense has got a lot of work to do, especially to compete in a shootout type game, if that's the route that LSU takes it. Again, I'm saying that LSU is talented enough that it shouldn't be a shootout, but I won't be surprised in the least if it is a shootout.
Me either. So let's get the previews and predictions here. I've got one of two outcomes. I got one of two outcomes. Either LSU blows this thing out of the water, or Auburn wins a close one.
Yeah. I do think LSU can keep this going with close wins. In order of likelihood, I would say that's my least option. I would say LSU
That's
blowout,
fine.
Auburn close one, LSU close one, because I think LSU is super vulnerable right now. I mean, they have been playing with no room for error, and obviously they've lost the game, but to Ole Miss along the way. They're toying around with their season. I mean, playoff hopes, playoff aspirations, SEC West aspirations gone. You lose another game in the SEC, it's over. I mean, you basically have to win out, including beating Alabama. And they've done it recently, but they've not done it consistently. No one's really done it consistently.
Right.
So you're going from a place where you entered with playoff aspirations, and you do not mess around with that LSU fan base. Keep messing around, and we'll be talking about a hot seat is what we'll be talking about.
All the reason you just said, the intangible context, I'm going to go ahead and get into it, is why I'm going to pick Auburn to win this game.
That's fair.
I'm going to take Auburn to win this game to the tune of 21-13.
Okay.
Now, there's so many reasons to pick LSU, and I get it. Call this my upset prediction of the year. I was really close with that Florida State Clemson one last year. I was really, really close. I felt like LSU, there's a lot to like. The game is at home. It's an 11-point spread. It's a freaking night game in Louisiana State, but this is one of the most underrated rivalries we have in this conference. And we talk about the Jordan Hare juju at night. Auburn just has a juju about them, period. I mean,
could be played on Sunday. They got the juju. It doesn't matter when you play it,
right.
They got the juice.
Right. But as you pointed out, LSU just kind of continues to play with their food together in whole, like, around the entire season. Some point, that's really going to hurt you. That's really, really going to hurt you. And I think it's going to come Saturday. Give me Auburn 21-13.
I got you. I'm doing the risky thing here. Also, I don't think we've ever disagreed more in a single series of podcasts. We had an Orange Cast a few minutes ago. We're disagreeing about everything today. We're okay, guys. We're not.
I still love you.
Don't think that we're feuding. We love each other.
Still love you.
But I'm going to say that LSU is too much. That Auburn is too shorthanded.
Okay.
The main reason being that Jaden Daniels is not the one messing around. He is not messing around. If they had one loss, if they were still on the trajectory, of course it can still happen. He's heading to New York with the way that he's playing. Is what's going to happen. I will say he better take care of himself because the hits are piling up. The comical hits. I mean, it looks like something out of a cartoon. The hits that he's taking.
I have never laughed so hard in football, in that hit he took against Ole Miss. I've never laughed so hard. Oh, go ahead.
No, they look like something out of a cartoon. They don't look real, is what I was going to say.
Yeah. But that whole thing that you just said right there is another reason I like LSU, or I like Auburn in this game, is because Jaden Daniels just sometimes he doesn't know when to call it, man. And so you know what? With that being said, I don't hate the way Auburn's defenses matches up against LSU's offense. I don't hate it. I think they're well coached. I think they play physical. I think they play fast. They run fit well. Sometimes they get a little undisciplined. But for the most part, like I don't hate that matchup. If I'm an Auburn fan, I'm more concerned on the offensive side, obviously. But again,
100%.
listen, I will say, I'm not saying that an LSU win or blowout win is not out of the realm of possibility, because if you roll the dice 9 times out of 10, it's going to land in LSU's favor. I just think at some point, and this not the narrative that we have in college football every year, the conversation that we have, like this team came out of nowhere and surprised somebody, right?
Absolutely
Somebody.
every year. Absolutely every year.
It's going to happen at some point. It's going to happen at some point. And I like Hugh Freeze. The dude is a winner. LSU is now going to have to pay attention to Peyton Thorne as a runner.
Oh, yeah.
Because he did it against Georgia.
Dude, that's the worst thing for them, because they're just – I can't grasp what they're doing defensively. I just can't. I'm still going to go with my number one in order of likelihood, and that's an LSU blowout here. I understand everything that we've just said. LSU is at risk. But, again, I'm going to trust their offense more than the distrust that I have in their defense. I'm going to say they put up 38. I'm going to say Auburn is no more than 24. in my mind, obviously there's asterisks everywhere the game is played. This is like the least on paper statistical game that we've had. This is telling you about the things that can go wrong if you play with your food, or if you're playing with house money, or if you're playing an opponent who is playing with house money. We're warning you of the things that can go wrong in that regard. But I'm going to take the risk of being a casual and saying that LSU is going to do offensively what they've done, and that Auburn won't have the horses for that environment.
Fair enough. We disagree, and I'm here for it. I like when we disagree. I still love you. It creates the friction and the heat between us. You know what I mean?
The conversation just.
I like to feel the heat with your body. Never mind. So he's taking the LSU Tigers. I'm taking the Auburn Tigers, and what could be the upset of the year. Make sure you're tuned to that one. Spread is LSU 11. Kickoff is nighttime in Baton Rouge.
Pandemonium reigns.